Good morning, LinkedIn friends, Value First Nation. Welcome to another episode of Value First AI Daily, your collaborative AI intelligence report. Happy Thursday, August 7th, 2025. How we doing, Nico?
We are doing, sir. Excited. 1 day away from the potential GPT-5 release. This will be the first time with everybody talking about it that it might not happen, but I think it will. Right?
I saw there was a stream scheduled today.
Yeah.
Is that still a thing?
It looks like it. I've still got it up. It might be announcement. Maybe he's going to do like another 3-day rollout where there's going to be some feature that comes today before tomorrow. But the odd part is that like there's been a debate recently in terms of like, okay, but what was the bigger release this week? Like what was really the bigger announcement? And even I have to agree. Like OSS obviously dropped, and two different sizes. You got the 120 and the 40 billion, I think, or no, 20 billion and 120, something like that. And you saw Dormesh's post. He's kind of going crazy about it and saying like how awesome it is and everything. And I'm not saying that it's not. It's more so that like I don't know. I don't know. I didn't know at the time. Like, okay, but how good are they, right? And my first question, to be honest with you, is like, is it a multimodal model, or is it just like a regular text model? So, answer on the first, it is regular text model. Tool capability, I have not heard yet, but I think people are saying like should be there, but it might not be there. That definitely is like a little bit of a drawback. And so then I heard this morning, performance wise, it is not quite what they said, at least in the open benchmark. So I don't know what the difference is with closed benchmark and open, but with closed benchmarks, they said, yeah, it's as close as like 04 mini. And with open benchmarks, they were like, it's as good as 03, but it's definitely not 04 mini. So not that that's horrific, right? It's practically 03. There are some tests that are showing that it is actually like just below DeepSeek R1. But as if it's something to scoff at, it still scores nearly 20% on the end of humanity test. So the benchmarks are kind of weird on it, but I think the nail in the coffin was like the amount of feedback where it was just like, hey, this really feels like it's trained on synthetic data from 03 that's like only positive answers that like that like couldn't possibly be negative in any way. Which I don't know if that means that it is responding very happy-go-lucky, or if it means like I don't know what it is. I haven't installed it yet. Probably gonna install it today. But I don't have like great expectations necessarily. To me, it is awesome because like it means that I can buy a web server that has enough memory to run it, and then I can host my own GPT. And like have an API key to give to people to use a particular model, which something I was about to do. Very cool, but I'm just hearing like mediocre.
Yeah.
That contrasted against Google's Genie 3, right?
Right.
Genie 3 dropped, and that we didn't like touch on it a whole lot yesterday, but the ramifications of it.
I'm about to show it. Before we dive in, I do want to say hello to Alan here, checking in from Scotland.
What's happening?
Good to see you, Alan. Thanks for stopping by today. And then, we like to talk a lot about theory. It can be hard in the digital space to show and actually workshop through things and apply all this knowledge that we're trying to share. We're trying to take that part seriously later this month with the first ever Value First Data Summit. Taking this foundation that AI needs, everybody's becoming very aware of it in ways that they haven't been before, in terms of asking for data cleaning and data maintenance, and help me make more out of AI by like fixing our data, right? So we got a bunch of experts coming together at the end of this month to just share and workshop, and like, can we take this problem that we all know exists seriously, right? Can we actually solve for it right before Inbound and HubSpot scare the shit out of us in terms of how AI first, what AI first actually looks like in the software that we know and love. So happy to, grateful to be a part of all these experts coming together. So come over to valuefirst.site/data summit 2025 and register for this free event the week before Inbound. That said, our main topic today is Genie 3. So I'm gonna play this intro video that was somehow only one day ago. Here we go.
What you're seeing are not games or videos. They're worlds. Each one of these is an interactive environment generated by Genie 3, a new frontier for world models. With Genie 3, you can use natural language to generate a variety of worlds and explore them interactively, all with a single text prompt. Let's see what it's like to spend some time in a world. Genie 3 has real-time interactivity, meaning that the environment reacts to your movements and actions. You're not walking through a pre-built simulation. Everything you see here is being generated live as you explore it. And Genie 3 has world memory. That's why environments like this one stay consistent. World memory even carries over into your actions. For example, when I'm painting on this wall, my actions persist. I can look away and generate other parts of the world. But when I look back, the actions I took are still there. And Genie 3 enables promptable events, so you can add new events into your world on the fly. Something like another person, or transportation, or even something totally unexpected. You can use Genie to explore real-world physics and movement, and all kinds of unique environments. You can generate worlds with distinct geographies, historical settings, fictional environments, and even other characters. We're excited to see how Genie 3 can be used for next-generation gaming and entertainment. And that's just the beginning. Worlds can help with embodied research, training robotic agents before working in the real world, or simulating dangerous scenarios for disaster preparedness and emergency training. World models can open new pathways for learning, agriculture, manufacturing, and more. We're excited to see how Genie 3's world simulation can benefit research around the world.
And like this title up here, like Genie 3, the world becomes playable, right? Like, obviously where my mind goes right away is Ready Player One.
Yep.
In terms of just like, especially seeing the promptable part, right?
Yeah.
And like, if you know how D&D works, like imagine that there's a dungeon master and somebody rolls and it's like, okay, boom, 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 dragon like shows up, right? And if you've seen the movie, it should not be that hard to make this leap. It's just like let's say 100 versions of the world that we just showed.
Yeah.
Literally, like I know plenty of humans that will raise their hand to support that. It's all about like, do we have the infrastructure yet? And so that's where my mind goes. Where does your mind go when you first saw this?
Interestingly enough, it goes to the classroom, and it's some sort of combination between. It's actually like it's basically the holodeck or the danger room, right? And that becomes the classroom. So imagine this: that you're a kid and you go to school, and you no longer have books in a book bag. You just have your assistant in whatever form that takes. Now, cell phone's not going to be a problem in class. And then you also have, which, how does that work? I tell you, the devices are going to be the watchers, really. So you'll walk into school, and because you walked past a certain whatever, all of a sudden your assistant understands you're in school. And quite literally, when you pull your phone out and you open it up and you try to whatever, your assistant's probably just going to rat you out and be like, "Hey, you're supposed to be paying attention. Probably put me back in your pocket." But you walk into class and you carry around your assistant with your AR glasses, and your AR glasses are your textbooks. And before you walk into class, you put your AR glasses on and you walk into a jungle. And it's a full-on jungle with, birds and all sorts of stuff. And it just, these odd sort of structures that look like your desk clearly are physically, wrapped around the structure of your desk, but they look like something totally different, carved out of wood or something like that. And that becomes like this new method of learning where, okay, kids, we're going to the Coliseum today. And we're going to go walk around the Coliseum, and we're going to go take a look at all the things around. And this month's history is about Rome, and we're going to go walk around Rome. It changes everything in just the most insane way possible. And yeah, I do see the Ready Player One thing. That was one of the, I'd started talking about like a timeline like last year, and I even put together this like music playlist in Spotify and sort of in the order in which I thought things were going to progress. And Ready Player One was amongst them, and it was around this time, and it was primarily due to meta and like how widespread the metaverse had started to get, but it doesn't seem like it's taken off quite as much, but hopefully that picks up now, right?
I think a little bit early. Just a little bit early.
Better. It's one of the things I've been talking about with Zucks. Is like, lean into it. Like, you own that space already. Nobody else is really in that space, right? He bought the only person that was in the space, and now they're making his headgear, Oculus. And so it's like, just keep going. I don't understand why you wouldn't just go hard into that space and own it, right? And especially with the gear he's got, with the AI stuff, it's like, I mean, like meta games right now should pretty much have like AI NCPs in them. It's weird to me. Like, I haven't played video games in a while, but honestly, if I bought like a new RPG, I would fully like, I won't buy an RPG if it doesn't advertise that it has AI NPCs. Yeah. Because that takes the game to such, like Chris was saying about D&D. This was the part of history that I was talking about where it starts out Ready Player One, but then it turns into Surrogate, right? And it goes from people like spending a few hours in VR to spending like as long as they possibly can before they have to eat or potentially dying in VR.
Right.
But yeah, I really, because it's just going to be so immersive.
Yeah.
It'll be so immersive that it will become. So here's this point. Okay. So everybody that's been, like laughing and joking about simulation theory, good luck. Good luck. In about 5 years, you're going to strap into something that will feel and look so real. You won't be able to tell the difference between it and reality.
And I just need to let this play like in the background while we talk about it. It's just like,
it's insane.
One of the sound on. But yeah, I love where you went with the education part. Like, and it's not just for fun, not just because we can't. Like, experiential learning is the best learning. Like,
Yep.
and literally, you can connect back to the way it's always been, like before technology existed and all these things. Like, this is how we learned. And one of the biggest problems with our education system is that we get out of it and we have a bunch of theory in our
Mhm.
heads that has not been applied. We have not learned the practical uses of it. And I think we connected it yesterday too, but like you were saying before, like benchmarking, open and closed, and like, yeah, you can build towards this test, which is everything is controlled, but then you put it in the hands of the user, like you might have to throw those out the window. Like, you
Mhm.
don't know, right? And you add more humans into that space, like it gets more and more unpredictable. And you can only learn through experiencing those moments. Like, and it's not like this controlled classroom idea.
Mhm.
It just like been proven to be a little unsuccessful in terms of preparing people for the real world. And literally, you can just bring the real world, like real,
Into the
like
classroom.
into the classroom now. Like,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
into the like the firefighting example, right? Like, does it should you just remove like truly like the burning building scenarios, like all of them, like for training? No, but you can do way more training now, like so that when you do show up, and not to mention the costs of all that
right.
stuff to get it done, right? That's where like as the stuff enters, we always talk about the cost is like additive and it's just costing us more and more and more.
Mhm.
Some of the stuff that it's replacing is just it's almost always more inefficient,
Right.
right? So this is where your points about like getting to this productivity, like zero cost, like it's only a matter of time, right?
Yeah. I mean, looking at this like other thing, like so there are there risks. Yeah, there's risks, right? And the risks with this are different, right? The risks with this technology overall. Um, there's obviously the physical in terms of like bad actors using it for, I don't know, like biology or like biological weapons or something. But to me, I think the greatest risks are psychological. People who are not ready to handle it can get overwhelmed by it, both in the like negative, but also in the positive, to the point where, you know, 'cause, like as we were talking about it, I was watching the guy paint the wall, and it reminded me of YouTube videos where you're watching like satisfying stuff. And so that led to like, oh, this is another case where like if you're stressed out, you go into Genie and you start doing this like satisfying thing and you calm yourself down. But then you come back to reality and you get stressed out again. So it starts to become this pattern where you prefer to be in the virtual world. You prefer to be in this made up scenario because in there, nothing bothers you and life doesn't bother you and this kind of thing, right? So if you're wondering, like, how would we get to Ready Player One? That's the start. The start is going to be people who just prefer to live in the digital world as opposed to living in the real world. And even though that's going to be initially, it will start out as utopia, but eventually we'll get some corporate people and politicians in there and fuck it up. Um, Maybe we'll see. Depends on who builds the world, right? If it's like Ready
Right.
Player One, where you design your own destiny, I think we'll all be better off for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see that as being like one of the greater downfalls, right? Because especially when it comes to kids, right? Kids who get picked on and bullied and stuff like that, you're gonna want to turn and just live in this virtual world. And I think initially we're gonna have the same reaction that we did with video games and computers and this kind of stuff, where it's like, oh, they're spending too much time in virtual and this, that, and the other. And then 25, maybe 20, 25 years from now, it'll just be a thing. And it won't even be weird for your kids to do it. It'll just be like, oh, Timmy puts his helmet on and he goes, hangs out with, Tommy and Janie and whomever, his friends, and they all hang out. Like it'll be like Surrogate, where you won't really be able to tell the difference. And it'll be like Inception, where your mind just convinces you that is real and that you don't. And it's not even like that this is real and the real world isn't. It's more that like this is real enough to replace my real life. It's good enough, right? I still have to log out to eat, and like log out to sleep. But even when it comes to sleeping, I guarantee you there's going to be people who fall asleep like in their rigs, in game, or whatever it is, in environment, and they'll wake up in environment. Like it's the world is going to change so dramatic. And oddly enough, Elon was talking about this like years ago. And he was saying that when we got to this point, that like this is really when humanity changes. Because like, okay, I know it doesn't seem like it's that significant to you guys. You really don't understand. Like the significance of Ready Player One is insane. We don't have an alternate universe yet, but we're going to soon. A non-government controlled alternate universe where anything can be whatever you want it to be. Are you starting to understand the addictive nature of such a thing?
Yep.
So, like, yes, the world is absolutely like inside of 5 years. Holy shit, it's gonna look different, dude. Like,
And
I'll be
this is
so
why,
surprised. Like
right?
all
This is a
the
fair
crypto
point.
and stuff. That's gonna be your. How else could you pay for things in Ready Player One, right? Your crypto is going to be your coinage that you earn from doing whatever you do in VR.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
yeah,
it won't be
happy to
that
have you.
stuff.
Happy to have you on, Alan.
Seriously.
We do a show called Singularity Soothsayers for those kinds of conversations. But the way we look at things, it often comes into the other shows that we do too, because it's all connected, right?
Mhm.
And this is real. Like it in lots of places, it's not going to be very nice outside.
Right.
And like that's where once you start to accept zero cost productivity, like so much of this relates to incentives. And like once you can't like pay for stuff in the same way and you remove the current financial system as an incentive,
Right.
man, that dramatically changes the power dynamics of the entire world. And there's lots of people interested in doing that, right? And it's to get to things like this, like that kind of the disaster stuff, right?
Yeah.
That we're having to deal with more and more often, right? Like we don't have to wait for it to happen. Like, and there's so much we can do. And then that proactive approach, man, right on time, like creates all the jobs of like we need people in these worlds, like prompting and engineering these situations and then learning from them and then applying them. Like it's a whole nother space where engineering, it just comes into the digital space in a different way than before. And that's where like, you think about the concept of extras, like in movies, right? Like all of these, like there's gonna be so much space for like, hey, human, do you just want to hang out over here, like as a job, like,
Yeah.
right? And like be a part of this. And you don't need training, you just need to be human in this
Right.
space and react to things. And whether it's research or entertainment and everything in between, there will be space. That's where it's like the hardest part is going to be like figuring out what you want to do, right?
How do you
Not
want to
what you
contribute?
are required to do.
And that's like, I'm not entirely sure, because there was this whole thing of like Altman was talking about this whole thing of like the economy revolving around compute and revolving around like token use, and that you'd essentially like end up getting paid for using LLMs. But if it's based on token use and it's based on quote using LLMs, at the same time, agents use tokens. So there's this like, I don't know, it just becomes this parallel in my head. And the only thing that comes out on the other end is stop talking about jobs. Like every time I think of the problem, and I think of the problem being, okay, well, what do we do with money? How do we deal with money? This, that, and the other with money. And what do we do with the economy? And, you know, how do we handle that? The end result always is like, it's this Occam's razor where like, what's easier, trying to figure out this problem or just getting rid of jobs altogether? Because getting rid of jobs solves all of that shit. Right? Well, how do we pay for stuff? Just fucking do it. Like, you know, when prices were getting jacked up and it was like getting really tough for truckers to deliver stuff or whatever, and it was getting really costly, did they stop driving though? No, because everybody realizes they have a duty in this world. If you ask most people and you say like, oh, jobs are going to go away, they'll just tell you straight up like, hey, that's BS. Like my job means something and what I do is meaningful. Right. And what you'll do is either that job still because you find it meaningful, or you will go find something else meaningful to do. Right. I don't understand like why it's the case that like, I don't know. It's just this weird thing. It's ownership and it's greed, right? It's a psychological thing that created the economy in the first place. It's one person having to own stuff developed this whole system of like, well, if I'm going to own stuff, I have to show how I'm going to own stuff. And that means I need a pile of something. And I guess we're going to make it gold. Right. And it just started out like, who knows? Maybe it was rocks at first. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But it was just a competition thing that's just, you know, sustained throughout time. And to me, you know, we are moving into an era, as far as I can tell from the way that CEOs are talking as well, we're moving into an era of either you enjoy doing your job or you don't enjoy it. And if you enjoy doing your job, then you're hired. And if you don't enjoy doing your job, you're fired. So it's kind of one or the other, right? Like either we're going to move into this era of, yes, we're going to work because we love it, or we're going to move into this era of you only get to work where you love doing it.
Yeah. And that's because there's an AI Iron Man suit sitting right next to you, or you get to get in it. And all it does is require you to enjoy like doing the thing.
Yeah.
Like, because you don't need all of the you know, knowledge and expertise. The knowledge, literally, like the knowledge value comes from the motivation and the will and the appreciation of things, and like not from like, how do I get over on this person today? Like, how do I hit this KPI? It's like literally the KPI becomes like, just do stuff that makes you happy. Like, man, what a world that will be. Thanks so much, Alan, for hanging out with us today. Starting to mention some things like UBI and stuff like that. And that's definitely the stuff that we talk about on Singularity Soothsayers, because as he said earlier in his comments, everything is changing and we're here to help you not survive, but thrive in this world that's already here. So until tomorrow, man, everybody have a great Thursday. Thanks so much, Nico.
You too, sir. Have a good one.